Welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at the WM-23 for the Italian tech tree that just came out with the patch. And this thing honestly was pretty good fun. It's not completely brain dead, but it has some very strong attributes that can definitely punish newer players, while also giving you a little bit of a challenge. It's a bit of a helicopter at low speed and the stall control is insane. But overall, the dogfighting capabilities aren't all that. It's not a 0, it's not a key 43, but it can actually work with energy. In that regard, it kind of feels like flying the I-225, except you're not fighting people that are going 600 kilometers an hour, making you compress 24/7, and instead of 4 Chevaux, we have 4 MGs that aren't all that. If you want the decal on the screen, you can go into the description, get your 3% off, while also supporting the channel and getting the decal for free. Now this is the I-16, and I ran into this thing for the very first time. This is like my 5th game or so, and I thought, I'm gonna see if I can use the low speed controllability. So I instantly go into the vertical. I know he doesn't have the best engine, but you can tell that he is still able to get higher than me in this kind of loop. Now one of the main issues is that this thing is pretty slow, so when you merge you mostly end up with an energy disadvantage, and something like an I-16 is pretty damn dangerous when it has more energy than you. Now I get onto it 6 here, and then the first real issue, or second issue after the speed, shows its head. It's the ergonomics. If you're familiar with the P38s, you know that they react very differently at low speed when you use your mouse or your keyboard. And you can tell it sometimes here, and I'll point out more when it happens. When I'm pulling the stick or the mouse all the way across the screen, it doesn't pull as hard as it can. Now we are on 67% throttle, but trying to not overshoot. But then I notice he's going vertical, so I'm going to go for web, drop the landing flaps, and I'm going to punish him trying to reverse his turn. But that is one of the main issues. It doesn't react the same to your mouse as to your keyboard. The roll rate isn't all that fantastic, and this thing, it's really slow. And when I say really slow, I mean you're going about 420 in a straight line. This thing doesn't maintain speed whatsoever. The energy retention is honestly pretty okay if you're in the speed that it can maintain, but the second you go over 450, you can kiss your speed goodbye the second you level out or pitch your nose up whatsoever. Now when you do have the energy advantage, it doesn't really matter what you are engaging, because this thing is agile enough. We merge at 500, he is below us, I just pitch up, I go up over his nose, and then I make sure to not go head on, so I go a little bit flat for a second as I corkscrew my way down, waiting for him to stall, and then we just pop him straight into his head. And just to show you how slow this thing is and how it really doesn't like to maintain energy, I'll show you right here. There's another small thing at high speed. It compresses like a bitch. It's not as bad as something like a lag tree, but you definitely notice it. Keep in mind, it's 2.3, it's not a big issue, but it's something that you do have to keep in mind when you are playing this BR, because there are a lot of planes that, well, might just be able to pitch in for free and kill you. Now here we go into a little bit of a shallow climb. I'm trying to get away from the VG33 as well as the A6M2, and you can tell that all my speed just ceases to exist. I was going about 550 and I end up at 800 meters with 240 kilometers an hour. At low speed though, again, it's pretty good at climbing. The climb rate is pretty respectable, and you will find people below you on equal altitude extremely often. The main issue that you have to deal with at the start of the game are going to be planes like the MiG-3 if they properly climb, because let's be real, it's a low BR plane. Not many people that are good at the game are playing in this BR, so very often you'll find these people to be still below you because they like to buzz the airfield with smoke as they, you know, have an air spawn and then try to show off. Overall, the plane, again, all the specs are in low speed, and there is one small issue with this, and we'll get to that after I get done dicking down Mr. Daddy Overlord in his ME410. It's a kill steal, but we're just going to gloss over that. The issue that we have with being very slow and being very good at being very slow is that well, you're going to be pretty slow. And in a 2v1 or 3v1 especially, this really starts to show its head. Now, if you merge with people at the same time, not really a big issue, but keep in mind, you are also going to be merging very slow. And when you merge at 400 and the other dude is going 550, 500, and he goes up and you follow him up because you think he's going to start a dogfight in which you will definitely kill him. If he then just kind of climbs away and you're below him, you are a very easy target for basically anyone. Now luckily there isn't many cannons around this battle rating, but when you're going 200 kilometers an hour and showing full broadside, you are probably going to get absolutely shredded. So here we merged with 3 people at once. That's what I was trying to do. This is the second game I did in it, and I was just trying to test the limits, as I always do, and see what I can get away with. Now mainly we just shoot the first guy that presents itself. It's a BF-49 F1. I don't want to deal with that, but I do notice that there is another BF-49 coming in from the other side. He's about 3 kilometers away, and I thought that with my landing flaps I could pull into the LA5 here, but he's a little bit too fast, and we are still going 300. Now I'm not gonna go vertical. I'm instead going to go down. I want to pick up a little bit of speed so I can try to stay behind this BF-49E, and also give myself some speed to give myself the opportunity to dodge the second BF-109. And this right here is what I meant. We're going 280, and this BF-109 has a pretty easy time hitting me. Now luckily only grazes my tail, but you can tell that the LA5 now also gets a pretty easy shot. Now I roll out of the way, get under his nose, and we just pitch up. Now luckily the LA5 kind of overshoots, and I have a little bit of time here to go for trumpet helmet as I miss my shots, and I'm forced to go back down again, which allows him to just drop straight back down on me. Luckily he's busy engaging someone else. He does manage to nick me one more time, but this time around he's going a little bit fast. He ends up flying straight, and all I need to do is just put him out of his misery. He gives me a full broadside at like 250. Easy shot, easy money. Down he goes. LA5 gets taken apart by my team here. But I hope it's clear that even though this thing definitely has its niche, and if you try to contest it in its niche, it's very strong. But in an Era B setting, this thing is not all that. Did I have good fun in it? Yeah, I actually had a pretty decent time. Other than, again, the combination of the mouse and keyboard not working in harmony, and secondly, the guns are kind of poo. Sometimes they hit very hard, sometimes they do absolutely nothing, and this inconsistency just makes it so that you can't really rely on it. MiG-3, I leveled out a little bit earlier. I managed to dive in slightly, pick up some speed so I can merge with this guy, and I notice that he's going vertical, so I'm not going to be following him up. I'm actually going to go flat here and just pitch straight into the shot. And you can tell that I'm overusing the flaps a lot on this plane, but you get away with it. It's slow anyway, and it's not about the rate fight. This thing can stick at those speeds pretty long. Of course, don't overuse them, especially when you're trying to go vertical, but the stall control is absolutely wild. Now I didn't really get an opportunity to really try it out, but if you watch my dev server stream, you know exactly how stupid this thing really is, and you can tell it. At least you can tell it somewhat here. I stalled 2 guys out at the same time. The Yak 1 decides that he doesn't want to have anything to do with me, and he simply dives away. But keep in mind, I was a kilometer above this guy, and he was stalled out as I was still going 350, 400. And I'm struggling to catch him because he dove a little bit. Now we are going 600. I am compressing slightly, so I'm going to ever so slightly tune down the throttle, but because he did a bit of a split S and I managed to keep it somewhat flat while being slightly below the horizon, I managed to keep more speed, and I'm well within range here to pepper this guy down. And if you thought right there I was compressing, no, that is again the mouse just not working at all. We then go over into the guns doing absolute piss all until we finally disassemble all of the parts that were stuck to his aircraft. Now he dies, and then we go over to the year 2, and I just want to show you that the guns, especially against bombers, they just stay. Well, I don't really have to explain it. You can tell that it just does absolutely nothing. I managed to give him an oil leak, a water leak. I killed a gunner, but I mean, the guns aren't all that. Now luckily here we just straight up Epstein him in the back of his skull, but the guns are a bit hit or miss. It's mainly my fault when I'm missing, but you know, we're just going to gloss over that little detail. Now here we do the same thing. We climb straight in, we meet the P38K and P39K, and you can tell that not until the last moment I decide to dive to pick up some speed, because there really isn't a reason to. I try to get as much altitude as possible, because that's the only way to store energy into your balls when you're trying to play this thing. Now this guy just completely ignores me. P29 gets shafted right out of the air, and then we just look for kills. And this P40 is already being engaged, the H75 is already being engaged, and I just think to myself, well, I'm just going to cut off the reinforcements. That's a lot. It means more to my team. I can dive in, get a couple of kills, but I'd rather just cut off the reinforcements and see if I can fight these guys completely on my own. And we can. So we just kind of dive in. They are not at a high energy stage, so I just kind of dive on them and just completely shred their plane. There goes his wing. And we look for the next guy that might be flying around. Now this is a bit of a furball, and honestly it's pretty good at them, but keep in mind the guns just aren't all that, and you are going to be a sitting duck after a turn or two. Now there I was compressing. That was not the fault of my mouse, it was simply just a skill issue. And here, I mean, when they're flying this slow, and that kind of spooked me for a second, the mouse is fine, but it's mostly when you're dogfighting someone that actually turns better than you, and you need to pull fully where it really starts to show its head. Now luckily most of the planes that outturn you, they beat you anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But when you dive on something like a Key 43, or you're shooting at an I-16 like you saw at the start, you can tell that I'm really struggling to control my plane. But when you dive into a furball like this, everyone is going to be going 2 kilometers an hour. And I just kind of get to collect kills completely for free. We almost get team killed here, but it's completely fine as we shred the H75 from behind. The 109 E3 gets shot down, and then we have to deal with the ME210. That is airbase camping. I already hit him a little bit before, he instantly went RTB. So this time I'm going to kind of hold my distance a little bit better and try to come out of the clouds. Now I am aware that he might not see these clouds, but I'm simply praying that he is not going to be looking in this direction at this kind of angle. Now the ME210 is one of the saddest planes I've ever fucking seen, so this is not going to be a big deal. The only real issue is going to be, well, my pilot or engine getting one shot by a 13mm. But he doesn't really seem to be reacting, so I just hold the trigger down. I do absolutely nothing but set a fire, but luckily that is enough to just put him and everyone living in that village straight out of their misery. Looks like there is no honeys to get home to anymore, as they're all just completely turned into pink dust. Then we dive into this MiG-3 going 67% throttle, and I swear I'm not even doing this on purpose anymore. This guy ran away after, well, taking a single hit, so I tried to go for the reversal. You can tell that he managed to hit me. Luckily, it's a MiG-3 and it turns like the MiG-25. And just like it's wraps for this guy, it's wraps for you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.